Good morning, everybody. My name is Jo with Jo Wise Leadership, and today we're talking about love, and it all starts with you. So I'm just going to wait while Facebook collects an audience for us. I'm just going to see if this is live on my other pages or get it live on my other pages. So just give me a second while I get Facebook happening here. Great. All right, looks like I am up, and I'll just share with my other page this morning. Thank you. I've got a couple of people coming on. Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day. It won't be a sec. All right. Get started. All right. Hi, Laurel. Lovely to see you this morning. Hi, Tina. Good morning. When you come on, please say hi. Don't always get to see you. Your names pop up sometimes randomly. I'm not quite sure how it works. But anyway, I'm here with my little friend this morning. Hi, Andrea. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. So, wanted to have a bit of a chat to you today. It's actually going to be a bit of a quick one because I have a fair bit on today, and I'm actually starting the day with a nice cup of chai with my guy. So, hi Shivani. But I just wanted to have a chat this morning. Obviously, everyone's banging on about love today because it's Valentine's Day, whatever that means to you. To me, I actually don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. As I said, I'm going to have a cup of chai with my love this morning because our schedules and the stars align, which is really lovely. But I don't do, we don't buy presents or do any of that type of stuff because to us it feels a little commercial that way. So, but everyone's each to their own. Thank you for all the love. But I do actually quite often think about love on this day, not only. And I've been doing a lot of reading about stuff that I don't normally talk about that much, but has been coming out a little bit more, and that's about sort of spiritual stuff. And a lot of the things I've been reading about recently talk about everything that we do will either move us towards love or fear. And that really resonated with me because with myself and my clients, we do work with fear a lot because, my clients are wanting to take it to that next level, and fear quite often comes up. And just as, you get to that next level and, and everything's aligned and everything's going really well, and you think, wow, I finally overcome all of these fears and that's really cool. Then you go and do something at the next level, whatever levels are. And then the fears can come up again in a different way, or because you're at a different stage, there's sort of new learnings to be had. So I do work with sort of fear a lot. So that either choosing love or fear in every moment sort of really resonated with me, and I've really been working with that message a lot. So today when I was thinking about my Facebook post or Facebook Live today, I thought, well, I wanted to talk about love, but I'm not going to talk about, love. Because that's not my realm. I more wanted to talk about what I think is, look, the majority of us want to be loved even more. We want to be more lovable. We want to have more loving people in our lives. And if that's the case, it always starts with ourselves. So the more we increase the love for ourselves, the more it's going to improve all of the other areas of our lives. So I've cut it down to a few main areas. Obviously, there's lots and lots of different ways that you can experience love. But I honestly do believe in a lot of the stuff I'm reading, from everything from like Gabby Bernstein to Brene Brown, will absolutely says that the level, or sort of the way that you love yourself will absolutely impact the way that you love others. Oh, thank you for all of the love and all of the thumbs up this morning. That's lovely. So I've broken it down into a couple of the main areas that I believe impacts my self-love and with a lot of my clients, and wanted to just have a bit of a chat to you today so that you can check in and see where you're going with those things, because most of us will want to increase the love, so let's always start with ourselves. One of the main areas that I find has had the biggest impact in my self-love, which obviously has impacted relationships with others and the results that I get. Good morning, Leonie. Fabulous to see you here this morning. Thank you for the love. Is me time. So me time is such a huge one, and I do talk about it a fair bit on Facebook because it really is something that's, I don't think it's really it's certainly not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's certainly not something that our society talks about. And I know quite often a lot of the stuff that I see is, about us, women particularly being selfish. However, I know that my me time, when I'm taking me time, I don't care if anyone thinks it's selfish or not, because it's something that really, really works well for me. When I have my me time, that can be anything from going for a walk in the lakes by myself, which is sort of behind where we live, which is fabulous. It might be, having an extra 10 minutes in bed in the morning when everyone's gone downstairs. It could be doing some meditation. Now, whether that is a 5-minute meditation, like I talk about a lot, or a different type of meditation, like sitting down and having a cup of tea and just having some downtime. So not sitting down having a cup of tea at my desk while I'm doing 10 other things, but sitting down on, a lounge or something, or sitting outside listening to the birds and just being. So me time is a massive, massive way of cultivating self-love, and it's had a huge impact on, and always has a huge impact on, bringing me back when I'm in that place, as I said, of fear, which is if I'm in a place of fear more than love. I've got a bit of a breeze happening out here now. The second thing is self-talk. Now, self-talk has such a massive effect. Great, thanks Tina. Yeah, absolutely, so good. Thank you, Tina. And you've been sending, Tina's got green hearts. I'm not sure how that's possible, but they're lovely. The next thing I want to talk about is self-talk. Self-talk has such a big impact on our self-love, on our confidence, on the way we communicate with other people, on the results we're getting. It is absolutely huge. I remember years ago reading a book from Louise Hay, maybe, and she said, in the book, she actually says that some people quite often say, she talks about positive affirmations, and people will always say, how many times a day do I need to say these positive affirmations? And she's like, hundreds and hundreds. And they're like, oh my goodness, that's so much, that's going to waste so much time. And she says, on average, people will say 400 negative things to themselves each day. 400. So imagine the energy that's resonating within us. And that's not, overly pessimistic. That's on average. So imagine if you can counteract that a little bit by improving your self-talk, or allowing yourself to talk to be a little bit more positive rather than negative. Or, to go with the theme of what I was speaking about, moving your self-talk towards love rather than fear. So have a think about that, and just have that awareness and notice your self-talk, because it is such a big thing, and it's something that I speak to my clients about a lot. Some of them are on here giving me love right now. And I do it for myself as well. This is not just something that, I have gone, well, okay, now I'm the expert and I don't have issues with this anymore. I'm human as well, and I'm working through this stuff just like a lot of other people are. So self-talk is such a huge one, because it just impacts everything we do. And like I quite often say at my trainings, when I first started hearing about these positive affirmation things years and years ago, like probably my early 20s, I remember exactly hearing about it and thinking to myself, yeah, that's just that pink fluffy bunny stuff that those really girly chicks do. And I was not going to have a bar of it, let me tell you. And then, interestingly enough, years later, doing a lot more personal development, professional development, a lot more leadership stuff, and started to learn about the way the brain functions, and learn about the concept of what we focus on is what we get. And for me, even though I am, very kinesthetic and very feely, I do like to have a bit of proof and a bit of study and a bit of sort of logical thinking behind some of the stuff that I follow. So that allowed me, that concept of what you focus on is what you get in your life. That made sense to me, that, well, if I'm saying positive affirmations to myself, that's going to bring the positive forward in my life, and, to the exception of everything else. So a lot of the negative will be pushed back, or the meanings I create behind the negative will be pushed back. So that has a big impact on positive self-talk, start using your affirmations if that works for you. I don't believe that affirmations are the only thing that will create self-love for you and cultivate self-love for you. It's one of the many things. It's kind of like, oh, Meryl, hello, I just saw your beautiful photos. You're looking amazing. I'd love to catch up with you. Meryl, by the way, is one of the people that she has this energy of love. I've met her a number of years ago when I was doing some corporate work with National Australia Bank, and she's one of these people that when you're in her presence, you can just feel love generating everywhere. It's so beautiful. So it's always extra exciting to see Meryl. So back to self-love. Really cultivate. Starting to say some really positive things to yourself wherever possible. And sometimes at the start it doesn't even feel a bit real, and that's where that the term fake it till you make it, that I know a lot of people don't like, so I use mold it till you hold it instead. Because sometimes when you're saying something that's positive, really, really positive, if you're not in a really, if you're in quite a fearful place, then it might be just a bit too far from where you are. So I quite often say to people, instead of going, if you're feeling everything's crap in your life, instead of just flipping that 100% and going, everything's amazing in my life, because that just might be too far from where you are, then, if you've got one here, fear here and love here, then pick something in the middle and work towards it. Maybe you could go to things are good in your life rather than absolutely amazing in your life. It's actually starting to rain, so I'm going to speed things up a bit. The next thing is actions that we're taking will help us to move towards self-love. So Meryl said, oh, so inspiring. Thank you. Generally catch up on your lives in the evenings. Thank you. Thanks, Meryl. It's always great to see you. Actions. Like sitting in the rain, for example, that's an action. But with what we were saying before, every action will either move us towards love or towards fear. So keeping in mind when you are taking action, just sort of step back and ask yourself, what's the purpose of this action? I like to call it purposeful action, because then it's not just taking action for action's sake, and it's just making sure that you're aligning yourself with the actions. Is this what I'm about to do? Is this in line with my values and what's important to me? Is this going to move me towards love? Or whatever language you want to use around that, okay? The next thing, last two things, is surrounding yourselves with loving things. Now, if you are, there's a song that's just popped up in my mind, and anyone that knows me, I'm not very good with the words, so I could have this totally wrong. There's a Counting Crows song that says something like, crap comes in, crap goes out, or it might even be shit goes in, shit goes out. And it always reminds me, whenever I sort of am talking about, all of this, self-love and surrounding yourselves with love, I think about that because it's, if you've got a really crappy environment around you, people that are really not loving around you, and in a work environment that's really, really, and not loving sounds a bit funny talking about the workplace, but, where you're connecting with people, where you're, where people are looking out for you, where people have your back, if you're not in an environment like that ever, you can turn things around, but it just makes it much more challenging for you, of course. Good morning, Aaron, and thank you for all the thumbs up and the love this morning. That's fantastic. So to make your steps towards self-love even better and to improve, your results and everything you want, surround yourself some really positive things. Now, I don't mean, you have to go out and sell your house and get rid of everybody that you know, although maybe that will work. But there's, you can start quite subtly. Now, that's why I have this guy on my lap. I bought this guy in Europe years and years and years ago, when I was a tour guide over there, and he was in Europe with me. He was on every coach when I was a tour guide, and then I brought him back here, and he kind of just went in the corner. And a few years ago, my son, he just ended up in my son's stuffed toys. And I remember one day Marley was saying to me, where's this guy come from? We were going through all of his toys. And I said, well, that's mine, and I bought it in Europe, and I told him the whole story. And then about a few days later, I wasn't very well, and I was in bed quite sick. And in comes Marley with my little toy, and he snuggles him under my arm and snuggles me in. And it was so lovely, obviously, not just to have the stuffy toy, but also to have that my son had thought about that for me. And that really created a really positive anchor around this guy for me. So, and I've noticed since he does it, if I'm ever having, I'm not well, or I didn't sleep or something, he will bring this guy into me quite often and share him with me, and it always makes me giggle. So that just makes me feel a little better. So this is one thing that I know I can surround myself with. I also have other little things that I surround myself with. Are really nice. When I'm having a cup of tea, I like to have a really nice cup, which horrifies me to say because my mum has always done that, and I'm like, just give me a mug, I don't care. But as I'm maturing in age, I do like a nice cup of tea. Nice candles, nice flowers in the house. And a nice clean sort of house are things that all help me to be able to cultivate that. Now it's quite interesting because that's all very external stuff, but that has a big impact on us as well. The way we dress, the way we hold ourselves, and the way what we surround ourselves with, not only relationships and people, but also physical thing, has a huge impact. I mean, take it back to the office, for example. I used to work in such a messy office when I worked in corporate. Good morning, Mandy. And I know that now with my own office, most of the time, particularly in the new house, I've been making sure that it's really, really clean at the end of every day and keeping it clean through the day. And it really just allows me to feel more clarity, clearer, and more self-loving. Yep. And the final thing I'm going to speak about today is to cultivate or to improve or to boost or whatever you'd like our self-love is our intuition. Good morning, Nicola. How are you going? It's something that I've been working with a lot. I've got a couple of coaches I'm working with to help me enhance my intuition, and the more I learn about it and the more I work with it with myself, I'm working with it with my clients as well, helping them get in touch with their intuition, helping them get in touch with what I call the power center, an area that is sort of all knowing and all loving in ourselves. And I know in our society now, it's an area that's really not celebrated, and quite often, I know from working in corporate, if anything, you're taught not to trust your feelings and emotions, and particularly as a woman, I believe, we're sort of pulled away from trusting ourselves and our feelings and our intuitions. So I know for myself, working in corporate for like a million years, these concepts were really, years ago when I started to learn them, trusting your intuition and trusting yourself was something that I don't know, it just didn't really make sense to me. So it's been a long haul for me to learn about this and to really be able to trust myself, and trust my feelings and trust my emotions and trust my intuitions. And sometimes when I step into it really, really closely and I'm fully aligned with it, it's just really amazing. And there's also times when I resist it completely and I'm kicking and screaming. So I would encourage you to sort of do what you can to, particularly as women, for us to get in touch with our intuition. And it's something I work with my clients with a lot because I know it has had profound impacts on me. And the way that I love myself and the way that I am with myself has a direct impact with the way I am with other people. So there you go. That's my take on cultivating self-love. And there's, as I said, there's a lot of studies and information out there that show you that the degree that you love yourself has a massive impact on the degree that you can love others. So have a think about that. If you're one of those people that needs somebody else, needs motivation from somebody else to start with, then that should be able to give it to you. And look, if you're looking for some extra bits and pieces as well to help you with this, I'm running a core confidence workshop in March, and I'll share the link below. But let me know if you've got any questions or you've got anything to say. Thank you for all of your love this morning and all of your thumbs up and all of your good morning. So have a fabulous day, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye.